Want to get creeped out? I want to talk about someone else who tried the Three Kings ritual. For storytelling purposes, we will name these girls Emily and Maggie. Emily and Maggie met in college and were extremely good friends. Emily had a boring office admin job, and Maggie worked in a library, a very old library. Emily said she had a lot of downtime when she was at work, so sometimes she would just scroll and read creepy stories. This is how she found out about the Three Kings ritual. Emily wound up telling Maggie about it, and the two of them thought it would be a really cool thing to try out. But they both also agreed that it was a little bit sketchy. They were both superstitious, and neither of them thought it would be a good idea to do this ritual in their own houses. This is when Maggie came up with a brilliant idea. What if they did it in the library? The library was massive. It was old. It was at a school that they did not want to name in case other people found out about this story. It had a very large, old, creepy basement that would be perfect. And they felt like the fact that they were going to do it in the library just made it that much better. Like, it would just add to it that much more. So one Saturday night, Maggie and Emily went to the library and used Maggie's keys to go inside. They left all of the lights off, not wanting anyone to notice that suddenly the library lights were on and realized that people were in there when they weren't supposed to be. The girls were actually both excited about doing this ritual, but Emily, since she found the ritual, was going to be the one to try it first. If it went well, then one day they would go back to the library and Maggie would do it. They did have to haul 3 large armchairs down into the basement, which was a task that took them quite a while. They had each brought a mirror from home and set up the mirrors on the chairs the way that they were supposed to. They had brought a fan, which they plugged in. They had brought a bucket and filled it with water, as well as a mug. They had everything set up. Emily's power object was one of her favorite books. She doesn't say what the book was, but I think that's really cool. The girls had also brought some blankets with them and some pillows. So there were couches upstairs in the library that they just went and laid on and went to sleep. At 3 a.m., Emily's cell phone alarm went off, waking them both up. Maggie asked Emily,
"Are you sure you want to do this? You can still back out."
But Emily was determined and thought this was going to be super creepy, but also super cool. She lit her candle, grabbed her book, and headed down into the library basement. It was not empty, though, which is something they do suggest for the ritual. And maybe suggest isn't the right word. It is rules. It's instructions. And it was not empty. The basement had a lot of bookshelves that were filled with books that needed to be sorted. Emily is careful not to look at the mirrors and sits down in her throne. She sits there for the first few minutes, listening to the silence, staring straight ahead, and noticing her reflection in her peripheral dancing in the mirrors. That's when she hears a book fall off of a bookshelf. It startles her a little and she jumps.
"Hello? Is anyone down here?"
She doesn't hear anything, but to her left, the mirror seems to change. It looks like her reflection in the left mirror is dancing much quicker than the one in the right, and she's trying to think to herself, how does this make any sense? The flame of the candle is flickering at one pace. Why would it be different in one mirror rather than the other? She hears another book fall. And then she hears a voice that chills her to the bone.
Are you scared? You should be.
She felt like her eyes were about to pop out of her head. She was so scared. Another book falls from a shelf.
Gonna get ya.
Her heart was racing at this point, and she actually wanted to stop doing the ritual. She had read some stories. She hadn't read all of them. She said that since she did this ritual, she's read a lot of them, but most of the ones that she had read initially had been of people who had enlightening experiences. She tries to remember everything she knows about the supernatural and the paranormal. She says,
"I have the power here, not you."
The voice responds,
"That's what you think."
She held on to her book, trying to remember the hero of her book, trying to remember that strength and courage, it all comes from inside when you're scared. Sometimes when she was scared at home, she would imagine this orb of warm light surrounding her, going up above her roof and down beneath the ground. She tried to get into that headspace, but she just couldn't. She was too scared and she almost felt empty. Then she heard a voice from the right.
"Keep growing the light,"
it said.
"Keep it growing. Keep it going."
She wanted to feel comforted by this, but she just couldn't. This voice was also terrifying. However, she knew enough about the ritual that there was said to be a good voice and a bad voice. And clearly, the one that said it was going to get her wasn't a good one. So she tried to find that space where she could connect her mind and her heart and grow her light.
That's not gonna work.
It won't work. It won't work. It's always about the light inside.
She heard another book fall, and then another, and then another. Her mind was racing, thinking this was a terrible idea. Was something going to get her? Her mind even went to the fact of what's going to happen to the library. Is something terrible going to happen? Is Maggie going to lose her job? Is Maggie okay upstairs? Is there anything happening up there? She concentrated on staring straight ahead. In her peripheral, she could still see that left mirror where she was dancing wildly. In the right mirror, it almost looked like there was a glow emanating from her body. The voice on the right just kept repeating,
Keep growing the light. Keep growing the light.
She heard a thud so close to her body. She looked down and there was a book at her feet. It was old and tattered. She was trying to make out the title in the darkness when a splash of water brought her to her senses. Maggie was standing over her and had just poured a bucket of water on top of her. Maggie told her,
I tried calling your name. I tried calling your phone. You weren't responsive.
This was the weirdest part to Maggie and to Emily. When Maggie found Emily, Emily was looking straight up at the ceiling. When Emily came to, she had thought that she was looking down, trying to read the title of a book. There were also several books within the rows of books that had fallen from the bookshelves. Even though Emily was a lot more scared than she had anticipated, she did feel like this was a good experience. She felt the voice on the left was just trying to scare her, trying to torment her, but the voice on the right had been trying to really teach her something, which she believed to be your inner power that you might not realize that you have. I'm really curious if Maggie ever wound up doing the ritual. I'm still trying to find out. Anyways, that's it for this one. What do you guys think?
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit that little bell if you want to be notified when a new video is posted.